Let it be known that the true light shines in every woman and man that cometh into the world. The true light that shineth in the darkness, but the darkness comprehendeth it not. Let us all within air of this true light fellowship hour bear witness to the true light within, that we may, like the real and living Messiah, Yahshua Christ, who many know today as Jesus Christ, pick up and bear our own cross, that we may be worthy of the Messiah by way of the Christ or Christ consciousness, known also as the first resurrection. And as we are now living in these times, let us all rise from our sleep and slumber and do the works of the Most High Heavenly One, this day and every day, as we say, Amun, 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 and Namastu, which simply means, I bow to the divinity in you. Well, Namastu again, and welcome to another Sunday service here at the Holy Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Enes III, also known as Ka-Hun, Anku, Sarah. As always, I'd like to begin by greeting our listening congregation, those who may be hearing this through the radio or Facebook or YouTube. We encourage you to come down to historic Bain Town any Sunday at 9 a.m. for our Sunday service, or any Wednesday at 7 p.m. for our True Light Fellowship and Bible study, as we are located at number 72 Meadow Street in historic Bain Town, as I mentioned earlier, just across from Enes Street. And so we encourage you to come. And for those of you who did make it, again we say Namastu. Namastu simply means I bow to the divinity in you. And again, the Farabaka, which simply means good morning. This morning we want to touch on a reality that has plagued us now for thousands of years. Literally thousands of years. And the sad part of it plaguing us for thousands of years is that because it has plagued us for so long, we don't recognize or understand how it is plaguing us and what it is that is plaguing us. Therefore, today's sermon is entitled, Breaking the Spell of Religion. Breaking the Spell of Religion. Today, we want to start in the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1. Very popular verse. Matter of fact, I was speaking to some elders last night. Mother Atum and Seba, Azahir Ahmed, who they live in Minnesota. They are two of the elders that guide us with the work at our school, the Ka-Hun International Academy. And she mentioned to me that they were actually working on a piece dealing with the word. And she said, in her research, she's come across information that says that this particular verse, John chapter 1, is one of the most quotable quotes in the world, around the world. What does it say? If we could read together. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John chapter 1, verse 1. And this is very important for us to start here at this point, because we're going to take you on a journey today through the mysteries of atonism, as we always do. But we want to focus, as always, on the finer points, because the details are usually written in a little fine writing at the bottom. That's where the details usually are. See, they normally get us when they say sign your name on the dotted line. Well, if it's dotted, it's not a line. It's a line of dots, but it ain't a line. So they trick you with the finer details. And so the first thing we want to look at is the word word. The word word in the Greek is the word logos. Everybody say that, logos. Logos. And this word logos means something said. It says including a thought, by implication a topic, a subject of discourse. Also reasoning, the mental faculty or motive. By extension, a computation. The divine expression, an account, a cause, a communication, a doctrine, etc., etc., etc. So it goes on to even say that this word means a speaker, speech, talk, okay, utterance, a word, a work. Okay, so this word is a word that even our brothers and sisters in Karast, or those who go to the more Greco-Roman interpretations of original Christianity, they would say that this word is Jesus Christ. How many people have heard that before? Yes, I think we all have. Yes? And we're not here to argue with those people who say that. That's their right, and if they feel that, that's fine. What we want to ask, though, is in whose beginning and what word? Because it says in the beginning, but this word here, word, is in Greek. So this can't be talking about the beginning. This got to be talking about in somebody's beginning. Amen? Now, why am I making this point? Every time, I know for a long time, let me say it that way, as I was coming up and I was questioning and I was trying to understand what this Bible was and what this religion of Christianity was, and, you know, what is it that people are putting in my face? And I would question things that I saw in the Bible, and people would say, but you know, the Bible is God's word, and God protects his word, and God wouldn't let anybody do anything to his word. How many people have heard that before? Right? Except for the fact that when we go to the book of Revelation chapter 22, we see something very peculiar here, if that is our thinking. Revelation 22. We read from verse 16, so we'll go back there. It says, I, Yahshua, or Jesus, some may say, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. So the first thing we have to focus on is the fact that Yahshua himself said he was sending his angel. So people will fight you down and tell you that they waiting for Jesus, but Jesus sent somebody. So if you ain't paying attention to who Jesus or Yahshua sent, then you're going to miss Jesus. Because right here he said, I sent someone else. Amen? Amen. Verse 17, and the Spirit and the bride say, come, and let him that heareth say, come. And let him that athirst come. And whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. Pause. It doesn't say God is going to stop the person who wants to add something to the book or take something away from the book. It doesn't say that. So where are we getting this impression that God is somehow going to swoop out of the sky or magically stop somebody from interfering with the Bible? When in the Bible, it gives you an alternative, or it gives you a warning that says, if you are needing to these books, this will happen. If you take anything away from these books, this will happen. It never says you can't take anything away from this book because I can stop you. You cannot add anything to this book because I can stop you. It doesn't say that. So, let me ask again. Whose word and what beginning? Because it is possible for someone to have stepped in and added things into this word. Amen? Can we agree on that at least? Yeah, because that's what the scriptures are saying. It's making it clear. You understand? If there's a punishment for it, that means it's possible to happen, correct? So the word can be tampered with. And we're here to tell you that the word has been tampered with. You understand? Now, this word then, there is an original form of this word. And where's this word coming from? Well, let's go to Psalm chapter 80. And we want to look specifically at verse 8. It says, thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it. So there's a vine that came out of Egypt. Yes? Amen? So why is the Most High going into Egypt to get a vine and planting it? What would be the purpose of that? I mean, we all have fruits that we like. We all have plants that we may want to have in our yard. Yeah? And if you want that plant in your yard, if you don't have the seed, there's a way for you to do that. Take a piece of that plant and catch it and have it grow in your yard, right? Yeah? So there was something in Egypt that the Most High wanted to be planted, which is why it says he took the vine from Egypt. Now, all throughout Christendom today, you learn about, we talking about this more so next week, but you learn about this attitude towards Egypt. And let me just be clear. When we say Egypt, I'm using the word Egypt because that is what you are familiar with. Technically, we are not the Egyptians. The Greeks are the Egyptians, Aegyptos. We are the Tamaraeans, the Ether-Utopians. Okay? The Greeks came in and using their method of cultural diffusion and their ability to steal people's identity because they have no identity of their own, they were taking our true religious identity and they were interfering with it to the point where that true religious identity became a spell. Okay? So the Most High, and this has happened time and time again, the Most High, understanding this, would have allowed for a vine to be taken out of Egypt. And then he says what? Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it. So it wasn't planted while the heathen was still there. Now, what is this word heathen? This word heathen is the word goyim, which simply means a person who was not of Hebrew descent, as they would say. But these Hebrews are your original Africans, 3 groups of 12 royal tribes of Ishmael, Israel, and Midian. I want you to understand how wicked these people are, because as we do our research and as we write, what we are finding out is that they don't even have the information that's necessary to prove that the state of Israel, that they brag about being the Holy Land, that is the Holy. They don't have any evidence for that. There's more evidence to show where Armana, further south in Africa, is the actual city of Jerusalem than there is this state of Israel. That's why they call it the state of Israel, because in order for a state to exist, there must be conditions. And the conditions were placed on that specific piece of the planet Earth in the late 1940s by the UN, which said that we're going to allow you to take the land of the Palestinians and create a state of Israel. Have nothing to do with God. Have nothing to do with God. Okay? So it goes on to say, verse 9 of Psalm chapter 80, thou preparest room before it, and didst cause it to take deep root, and it filled the land. So this vine took deep root. This land, or this vine rather, was planted not just in the ground that you know today, but it was planted in a group of people. And it took deep root in those people. It says, verse 10, the hills were covered with the shadow of it, and the boughs thereof were like the goodly cedars. So it took root, and it began to flourish. Verse 11, she sent out her boughs unto the sea, and her branches unto the river. It began to spread. But then verse 12 says something here that should all make us pause. It says, why hast thou then broken down her hedges, so that all they which pass by the way do pluck her? Why has our original or our true religious identity been allowed to be plucked by everybody? It's been plucked by the Jew, it's been plucked by the Christian, it's been plucked by the Muslim. You know, it's been plucked by the conscious person, it's been plucked by everybody who has fragmented it and caused it to not be recognized, to the point where there are people who've taken it, used it in their formulation of what is called religion, and created a spell. Now, what's important for us to understand is that this same vine is mentioned biblically as Yahshua, saying what? I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. Right? So we learned that Yahshua is the vine. Well, Yahshua was but a subunit or a replica of a greater aspect or something greater than himself. All right? Yahshua never asked anybody to worship him. Yahshua never called himself a Christian. Yahshua never asked for a lot of these things that religions are asking for today. And they have us in a stupor right now, because we making sure the pastor straight and we can't pay our bills. We making sure pastor get car and we ain't get no car. See, don't give the pastor money and ask me for no ride, you know, because I petty like that. No, man, you need to call your pastor for a ride. And that's what you give money to get a car. You need to call her do it. Don't ask me for no ride. Because I petty like that. Now, see, you can't get mad at me because I told you I was petty. Okay? So don't get mad. Now, why then are we saying it's a spell? The word logos itself, being a Greek word, is traveled through different languages. And it traveled all the way into the Middle English through the French, logique, late Latin logica from Greek, logique of reason from logos, word or reason. So this word logos really and truly is where the word logic comes from. So when a person says logically thinking, or that isn't logical, I like my accent. That isn't logical. This idea of the logos or the loga, okay, this is going to sound strange. You know why it's going to sound strange? Because you want to spell. The word logos essentially is rational, that which is rational. Something that is rational makes sense, correct? Yes. Wrong. They got you on the spell. They got you on the spell. They got you. They really thought, they made you think rational means makes sense, doesn't it? The word rational is a word that ultimately means that something makes sense within context. So if you are in the context of a spell, then there's going to be things that make sense in that spell. Now, if somebody came in and tampered with the word, which we already proved it could happen, okay, and then we can prove to you it did happen, right? Then if the entire word, the logos, has been interfered with, and your whole process of thinking and reasoning and rationalizing things is based upon the word, then if the word was tampered with, so too then was your reasoning tampered with. So too was your ability to actually rationalize things tampered with. You with me? And so we have to recognize then why it is called a spell. Spell the word spell. S-P-E-L-L. Why are there two L's in spell? Because it's a spell. Because it doesn't have to have any reason. But if I was walking around spelling spell with one L, people would say, this man is uneducated. This man can't spell. Why? Because it's irrational for you to spell with one spell. But, for our guests, what is this word? Please help me. Sugar, right? Wrong. It's sugar. It's not the word sugar. This is the word sugar. S-H-U-G-A-R. That's sugar. S-U-G-A-R is sugar. But somebody told you that it's sugar. So if you reading and you said, and please put some sugar in my tea, they'll say what? That person isn't educated. He can't read. Huh? If I went to spell the word sugar and I put H in it, they'll say what? That person isn't educated. He can't spell. Yes? And so we walk around seeing these contradictions day in and day out, and we ignore them. And if they could get you to ignore sugar and sugar, they could get you to ignore the whole Bible and what was done with it. Because once you accept one of these lies, it makes it easy to accept the rest of the lies. Why are you coming on 3 o'clock in the morning? Oh, well, John them is, he's playing pool. Once you get that lie, you accept any lie. So now you got an excuse for 3 o'clock. I mean a lie. So if you run with that lie, then any lie could now fill in to continue to lie. And once you start lying, you gotta what? Keep lying. So once you start or put some people on a spell, you gotta keep the spell going. And this is why the Holy Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International, is a problem for people that are under a spell. Because see, plenty of people making money off the spell. You see what I'm saying? Plenty of people selling handkerchief and holy water. Huh? You know how much stained glass window costs? See, that's why they frowned. What you mean, Black Messiah? You can't change that. Put the white Messiah up. I can't change that, boss. So I might as well say it's cheaper for me to say you talking foolishness than to agree with you. Now I gotta move the white Jesus out the stained glass window. Man, that costs too much money. You understand? And so we have this reality then whereby we are consistently going with the flow. Consistently going with the flow. But Yahshua didn't go with the flow. He never did. This is why he was a problem for those in that day and time who were under a spell. And so I say all of this to say then that this spell, this ability to cause us to move away from what we actually feel in our hearts, what we actually experience, and just accept what is the written word, that which is rational, as opposed to that which moves by way of synchronicity. See, that which moves by way of synchronicity cannot always be rationally explained. It happens to us all the time. You walk into a room and you was just thinking about somebody and you hadn't seen them in 2 weeks and they're there. There's nothing rational about that. You understand? And we could go on and on and on with the examples of things that happen to us on a daily basis that we call coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. That's a rational term that's utilized to make sense of something that is a part of what's called synchronicity. Say synchronicity. They would even use a word, serendipity. Say serendipity. They talk about what's serendipity, so if you write your name on a dollar and you spend it, and 10 years later, someone give you change, and this the same dollar what I wrote my name on. They say that's serendipity. Because, again, the Greco-Roman could not delve into your mind. They could not delve into your doctrine. They could not delve into how you think. And so because they can't do that, they must cover up your realities and cause you to live like they live so that you are forever out of tune with the Most High. And this is the ultimate question that we're going to ask today. How has this affected our soul and our connection to the Most High? Because we can't be claiming to be the children of the Most High. All across Chicago, too blessed to be stressed. But you stressed though. You put in brackets, I lying. Too blessed to be stressed, but you stress? Come on, man. Child, I blessed and highly favored. Really? And you here with me at work, and you blessed and highly favored? I want your type of favor. You're supposed to be via satellite from Montego Bay or Cat Island or something chilling. Child, I right there blessed. You blessed. You highly favored. Because we got to go to work. But you can't be at work with me and blessed and highly favored. No. Because I ain't looking at that as being blessed and highly favored. I work in jack to jack, just like you. So you can't be working and living just like me, but you blessed and highly favored, and I stress. Because I ain't stupid. Right? So, in order for us to understand, what or how this has affected us in terms of our soul and our connection to the Most High, we have to understand, and I'm not going to spend much time on it today because we don't have that much time. All right? But everything that they've told you about the soul and the spirit within the religious world is confusion. And let me prove to you that it's confusion. All right? What is the soul? I don't mean people who know. Just no wrong answer. What do you understand the soul to be? Anybody? Supernatural. The supernatural? Okay, beautiful. Anyone else? What you learn about the soul? Spirit. Okay, beautiful. I like that you said that. Anyone else? So the supernatural, Our inner being. Our inner being. Beautiful. All right? And none of those answers are wrong. They don't, however, give us something tangible, do they? Do they? So it's a word, and I'm happy he said spirit, because in the scriptures, they'll define spirit of soul and soul of spirit. Because at the end of the day, they have no concept of what it is, and they want to make sure you don't have a concept of what it is. And so just quickly, when we say the word soul, in the Hebrew or even in the Talmud, you see the word ruach, and the word spirit is the word nefesh or nefash. Vowels change, right? In Arabic, you'll see nafs, okay? And when you look up, for example, sometimes you see the word spirit, you look it up, it says ruach. Sometimes when you see soul, you see nefesh. When it says God breathed the breath of life into man, he became a living soul. The word soul is not there. The word is nefesh chaim, which is talking about not just a spirit, but a spirit that has a double portion of personality. All right? A plural. Nefesh chaim. All right? So I'm not going to get too deep into that, but the point I want to make is that there are specific words for soul and spirit in the original languages, right? Now, having said that, how do we actually begin to make the soul and the spirit something tangible? Because if I ask you to point to the tree in the room, you could point to the tree. If I say point to a chair, you could point to a chair, right? So there's no big confusion about it. But yet, when we talk about spirit and soul, you get several different answers that are not necessarily the wrong answer, but it doesn't pinpoint the answer. And so what we understood or overstood in Tamare or ancient Africa was that what is referred to as the soul, okay, is a word that we understood as the ba. All right? And the word spirit, or I should say the divine spirit and the divine soul, okay, is the word ka, as in karast. Yes? Now, looking at these words, it still doesn't necessarily make it clear. And so, what our great ancestors taught us was that this word ba would be perceived as your DNA. Now, we know what DNA is, do we? Anybody not know what DNA is? Yeah? And this word spirit is the word RNA. Okay? And this is important because what it did for us as ancient Africans is it gave us a clear understanding of what the soul and the spirit was and is. Now, the soul and the spirit actually come out of what is known as the Ak. Okay? Which ultimately represented the chromosomes. All right, so quick biology lesson. So out of the chromosomes are ultimately a group of DNA, and the DNA break down into genes. So on the DNA you have genes. Within the chromosomes you have DNA. So it's a long, like if you think about one of those old, I'm dating myself, right? Them old telephones with the long stretchy cord. So one of those little curls, a portion of it would be the DNA, and then a portion of that portion would be the genes. All right, you talk about marking genes, right? Now, why is this important? When we talk about the soul and the spirit, what we're actually saying is that there's a storehouse of souls that once it has manifested as the divine decaying body, which is this body that you have right here, this physical body. Once that DNA, okay, has manifested into the divine decaying body, then you have a manifestation of the Ka, which is your personality. Let me say it another way. When the sperm hits the egg, the baby is formed, yes? When that baby is born, that baby has a personality. Okay? And ultimately, that personality is based on what is in the DNA. Yes? The DNA is the blueprint of all of the experiences in your lineage, your lineage. Okay? And what it's ultimately is telling you is that this DNA is like a library. It's like a storehouse of experiences. And depending on when you were born, you could literally walk into that library and you could pick whichever experiences are needed for you to function in whichever day and time that you exist in. Because your ancestors, depending on your lineage, would have experienced similar problems, similar conditions, okay, similar scenarios to the point where the answers that you're looking for, you literally are walking around with it. But you have to understand and learn how to access that library so that you can get the answers to those questions. Or you can get the information that's needed to invent something that's needed in our society. All right? And so, this ak, as we said, the word is what? Ruach. Okay? The ru, that which is breathed. Okay? Ak, it travels straight through your scriptures without you seeing it. Because it said, God breathed the breath of life into man, and he became a living soul. They don't tell you that this nefesh chaim is actually there as the word soul, because they don't want you to understand the nefesh chaim is actually the breath. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath, let it out. So when we say a double portion, we're talking about the ability to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. When you look at these words here, DNA and RNA, deoxyribonucleic acid versus ribonucleic acid. Take a breath in, take a breath out. One has oxygen, one doesn't have oxygen. The double portion. Later on, you see where Elijah and Elisha, he said, what is it you want? I want a double portion of the Spirit. Now, he didn't literally blow on him. The double portion of the Spirit is saying we all come with our own experiences. And when we sit with a master teacher, just like a person learning chess, you may have your own moves. And that teacher then teaches you everything that the teacher knows because they want you to win. And then eventually you can beat the teacher because you know all of his moves and your moves. Because you have received a double portion of the Spirit. They've added to you that which you already came with. Later on, you see Yahshua breathing on his disciples. Before he sends them into the world, he breathes on them. In the book of John. Again, symbolically suggesting that those who would have been around him for a specific period of time would have learned things necessary for them to do what he did and what? Even greater. Even greater. And so this is why I have an issue with the religious people who are teaching you to be lower than Jesus.
Say that again.
I have an issue with religious people who say you must be lower than Jesus. Because if Jesus said, you're going to do even greater works than he did, to say that you can't do greater works is to go against what Jesus said. So it ain't me. I sticking up for what Jesus said. I sticking up for what Yahshua said. You understand? And so, As we then look or understand this Ak, this Ba, this Ka, this chromosomes, this DNA, these RNA, I need you to understand that because we going further now into understanding what this means and why we're limited as a people. What is causing us to be limited? What is causing us to actually be in the frame of mind that we're in to not be able to access the Most High within us? You mean we have the creator of all creators inside of us and we can't create? You mean we talking about we Christian nation and God and us and we can't create jobs? We can't create peace? We can't create food? Something's wrong with that. That's a limitation. But God in us? I ain't saying God ain't in us, you know. All I'm saying is the connection loose or it ain't connected at all. Some people can plug into something else totally. That's another story. So let's look at what the African soul is. Do not let anybody tell you that we are all the same. That's a bunch of crap. And you know that's a bunch of crap because when you go in the cafeteria, everybody don't sit together. Huh? Look in the jails. Everybody's one in the jail. He said, you better find a gang, bro. You better go find someone who look like you. That's real. When we get to the basic level of human instinct, we don't talk that foolishness. We are all children of the Most High. That I agree with. Just like the horse and the wasp are children or animals of the Most High, however you want to say it. But a horse is not a wasp, and a wasp is not a horse. Right? So we're on page 6 of the book, African Soul, Divine Spirit. Now, what is the African soul? Let us begin by saying that when we use the term African soul, it is because there is a difference between melaninites. When we say melaninites, we're saying black people, Latino people, Caribbean people. We don't just mean blue black people. We mean those from the lightest of hues to the darkest of hues. They're all us, melaninites. Those who can produce melanin in the sun. Amun? There's a difference between melaninites and all others on this planet in that we have soul or Ba, which give us a genetic DNA link to the Niteru, who are the melaninite guardian angelic hosts from the highest of the celestial heavenly abodes, the high galaxy Yiliun. So in the book of Job, it talks about my records are on high. There are galaxies within galaxies. That's what the universe is called. Okay? And there are galaxies that some of our DNA came from. This is why there's always this need to look out into the sky, to the stars. This is why we keep talking about heaven. But the word heaven is the word Orion or Oranos, which is a star constellation. So there are other star constellations. The book of Job talks about other star constellations. The book of Amos, all right, Pleiades and Arcturus and even Mazzaroth, the entire constellation, right? So you have a direct link to these guardian angelic hosts all the way back to the high galaxy Yiliun. And this soul is an African or melanin force. Soul is an African or melanin force. That's why they had songs, what? I'm a soul man. You see the white man walking down the sidewalk, right? No. You see the black man walking down the sidewalk. Because they used to call us the soul man, the soul woman. What's soul music? See, I want y'all to understand this thing because the white man inside you will start talking to you. Because all us got a little white man or white woman inside us saying, well, that's racist. Don't let him say that about us. You said that. I didn't say it. I'm repeating what you said. I came into this planet knowing the black man and the black woman was the soul man and the soul woman. Huh? I came into this planet learning that soul music was black people music. So don't switch now. You You understand? The African, this soul is an African or melanin force which predates all other concepts concerning soul. So when they talk about in the beginning was the word, their word is a word that was coming out of our word. Some would refer to it as the Metu Neteru. Some would say the hieroglyphs. And these words that we had actually mimicked or mirrored nature, which is why when you look on our walls throughout Africa, not just Egypt, because they love to point at Egypt only, all throughout Africa, you see our writing as a bee, a tree, a hand, a nose, an eye, the lip. Because we were explaining or leaving records to show that we have a direct link to nature. And these symbols were the bridge between our conscious awareness of it and our subconscious awareness of it. And those who did not have what we understand as melanin in high amounts could not tap into it. That's just a fact. Doesn't mean we hate people who have less melanin or hate them just because they have less melanin. That's not what we're teaching. But we cannot continue to apologize for who we are. We cannot continue to make excuses about the fact that we do have large amounts of melanin. Amun? With this, the Tamarian or ancient African word for soul is Ba. And the word Ba is divine genetic soul. And this word and its meaning should naturally cause us to consider that the soul is the emotional body or the essence of you, which it is. It is the E equals MC squared in the original books of the Bible. Just reading from page 36, verse 41. It says, moreover, energy was set in motion, by which these energies became manifested as emotions, which were made manifest and known as Nataru. So this energy in motion was known as Nataru, within its very own nature called Nataru Shil Nataru, or the nature of nature. So even nature has its own personality. You understand? Which is why we ain't entertaining bill number 4. Because that goes against the nature of nature. Amun? So it goes on to say that felt within itself, this nature of having a nature that it did, a compassionate nature, felt within itself a love, a divine love, which the ancients called Ashug. Everybody say Ashug. Ashug. That is unknown or felt by those that are both unbalanced and imbalanced beings. So if you are not a balanced being, you will not feel Ashug. Ashug is not lovey-dovey. Ashug is not buy me a teddy bear, you buy me roses. Take me to dinner, I take you to beach. That ain't what Ashug is. Ashug as a word simply means all elements, all attributes, all components of nature. Which is why when you love somebody, you do feed them. Because in the food, there's elements, there's attributes, there's chemicals, there's atoms, things to nourish them. If you don't feed them food, you give them jewelry, which is an element. Because you say you love them. You understand? You provide for them, like nature provides for us. That's why you do what you do when you say you love somebody. Because you're mimicking Ashug. You understand? So it goes on to say then, for at the first sign of emotions, energy and motion, simply E equals energy plus motion, energy and motion, or E equal MC squared, was the birth of motion, movements, or actions where potentially potent energies became kinetic energies. So it's talking about a time before we became, as they say, kinetic energy. When you say kinetic energy, you're saying kin ethics. The ethics of family. When you talk about your origins, the word origin means ancestry. You can't run away from it. If you're going to honor your mothers and your fathers so that your days can be long, the word honor means to multiply. Not sit down and grovel. That's what they start asking you. When you need to make some foot for socks. I want some grandchildren. You understand? You know, when we married for too long and then they look and they be like, okay now. And then being on the honeymoon, that's beautiful now. What's really, huh? Right? So, what's cooking in the oven? Right? And so we move now in this same book, African Soul, Divine Spirit. And we tap into, let's go to page 46. Because, as I said earlier, and read earlier, for those who are unbalanced or imbalanced, they do not experience Ashug. They do not experience the Most High. If you're not experiencing the Most High, then you're limited in accessing the full potential that's within your DNA, RNA, and chromosomes. This is very important. Okay? The question is, if we are in the image and the likeness of the Most High Heavenly One, why are we not the Most High Heavenly One? Because some people really believe they're the Most High, like Donald Trump. You can't tell me in the Most High. You know, put a plane behind you and act like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody can tell you nothing. Page 46. Remember, members of humanity in varying degrees of genetic potency were created in the Most High Heavenly One's image. Yet, as with any image, we are not the original. An-Ne-Re, the Most High Heavenly One, is the original, and we are just the image, the facsimile or carbon copy. So you are not the Most High, you are a carbon copy. You are not Yahshua. However, Yahshua gave you a blueprint to live like Yahshua so you can complete some things like Yahshua did, and even more. And as those in the image and likeness of the Most High Heavenly One, An-Ne-Re, though we may be a copy, we are just that, a copy, yet not a perfect or exact copy. So never get caught up in your divinity to the point where you think you're the Most High. Put another way, as good of a copy as we may be, we are nonetheless just that, an image or copy, which has been copied over and over for trillions of years, weakening with each successive generation. Because if you make a copy of a copy, and you keep making a copy of a copy, it fades. Right? Thus, there will always be a distinction, no matter how refined it may be, between humanity, the creation, and the Most High Heavenly One, An-Ne-Re, the Creator. There's always a distinction between us and the Most High Heavenly One. And so it is that the Ak, going back to what we talked about earlier now, which is the chromosomal etheric portion. When we talk about ether, the sun produces ether. Today, the only time many of us see ether is when we go and buy it from the store that sells what? Wines and spirits. Watch what they doing now. They selling you spirits. And that's a rational thing. You see? Why are they calling it spirits? They stole the spirit from the grape. They stole the spirit from, the different things that they've made these rum and alcohol from. And that's what causes people to go outside their mind to the point where after they sober up, they feel sorry for what they did. Because that spirit was running them. You understand? So it goes on to say that this arc, or this chromosomal etheric portion, is the higher or pure self, which seeks to guide each member of humanity in varying degrees of genetic potency through the utilization of inspiration and intuition, whereby a refined connection with the Most High Heavenly One, An-Ne-Re. So when we say the Most High Heavenly One is a part of each and every one of us, this arc, these chromosomes, are that portion that's in you, that's in the blood. This is why you can only be saved by what? The blood. Because I ain't see one church yet where they come in with the blood and sprinkle it on y'all, and y'all stay there and let them do that. So stop that. You don't believe that. But Jesus came to my bed and he left his blood. And we're all today going to wash ourselves in the blood of Jesus. Okay, Pastor. Yeah, alrighty then. It's talking about what's already in the blood. So this ark is the higher or pure self that's guiding you. Furthermore, though you are not the Most High Heavenly One, Ane, you do possess a portion given or sent from within the Most High Heavenly One, Ane, which is the ark, which though it emanates from the higher realms of existence, is such that it has the ability to directly and indirectly influence the physical realm of existence. And this influence is such that the ark is not overcome by Isfut. Isfut is chaotically unbalanced forces, chaos, foolishness. It reacts only to Ma'at, which is the universal order and the balancement of deeds. So only Ma'at, that's the only thing that this portion, these chromosomes, they only respond to Ma'at. This is why we live by way of Ma'at, the balanced scales, true justice. A lot of people think we just won't be good. We don't teach you how to be good in this church. You want to be good? Go to another church. We teach you to be balanced. Because Abel was good. Good at getting knocked out. Good at getting killed by his brother. If he was more balanced, he'd have boy skiing back. And the story would have been different. Or he wouldn't listen to King. So don't be so good that you overcome by all the negativity in this society. Let me say it another way. You gotta leave a little nigga in your back pocket. You ain't never know you have to dust that nigga off. Huh? Don't put all the nigga away. You gotta keep some nigga. You see what I'm saying? Don't be a nigga, but you gotta keep some nigga. You see what I'm saying? So there must be a balance, right? Because Isfut or chaos does not affect the ark. However, and this is a big however, each being's respective ark is only as responsive, powerful, vital, and abundantly infused with the presence of Ma'at. So, let's break it down even more. This ark inside of you is the portion of the Most High that's in you. The Most High, the creator of the boundless universes, that which gives you the ability to do whatever it is you put your mind to. That portion of you is fueled by Ma'at. So if we looked at it as a cell phone, the only thing you could plug this into is Ma'at. The only thing you could plug that into is order. If you're not living orderly, that's not charging. This is why the book of Ma'at is so important for us. Because we must learn how to live a balanced life so that this portion, as it is the Most High, is consistently charging and is able to give us the necessary guidance in order for us to reach our fullest potential. Thus, this presence of Ma'at, which is universal order and the balancement of deeds, governed by the Most High Heavenly One, Ane, must thereby be central and apparent within your various personality manifestations on Tar Earth from generation to generation, because without Ma'at, even the Ark has limitations. And this is why we've been experiencing limitations. Because from generation to generation to generation, we've been taught to follow a word that was inconsistent with the reality of our true religious identity. And because we've done that for generation after generation after generation, that portion of us that is the Most High has not been able to function in our lives, and thereby we are limited. The question then becomes, please explain further concerning the limitations of the Ark. The Ark is extremely powerful. The Most High is extremely powerful. The extension of the Most High is extremely powerful within you. Though it's extremely powerful, though complete control and utilization of it has been limited by monotheistic indoctrinations and influences. And that limitation is manifested in many ways. So what is limiting your Ark? What is limiting the divine portion of you? Monotheistic indoctrination. That is what we're referring to as a spell. Because if you're being taught that the soul and the spirit is an inner portion of you, it's just as a wind, you don't know what it is. So you don't know how to affect it. You don't know how to make it work for you. Yet all is not lost, because as each of you are developing in true faith, so too is the ark being strengthened, because the ark in and of itself can only respond to its own inherent positive energy and to the positive energy which you encounter each day, to the degree in which that positive energy has been expressed in each of your various genetic generational incarnations. This is why positivity, balancement is so key, because there's a portion of you that's relying on it, which is why the media must constantly give you negativity, because the negativity does nothing for your divine self. Monotheistic indoctrination teaches you fear, so that in you being afraid, it does nothing for the divine in you. Your divine does not respond to fear. Your divine responds to balanced behavior. Now let us stress something not understood by the promoters of monotheistic blind faith. And this is that when it comes to the ark, which comes forth from within the Most High Heavenly One, Ane, your inability to fully harness and access its potential energy is based off of the fact that the Ba, which again is now the genetic DNA soul, is either balanced or unbalanced. So the gateway to the chromosomes, the gateway to the ark, is the soul. If the soul is unbalanced, you don't have access to the chromosomes. And this balancement or unbalancement is such that the Ba, being the inner shell of the Ka, because the Ka is what you see. You meet a person's spirit, and then you learn about their soul. I like that person's spirit is what you say. You don't say, oh, I like his soul. No. You say, I like that person's spirit, right? So this balancement or unbalancement is such that the Ba, being the inner shell of the Ka, or the genetic RNA spirit, must develop through successive generational incarnations, whereby any spirituality you are engendered with is weighed and made perceivable, not by the comparison of goodness and evil, but by the various degrees of balanced positiveness personified within the multitude of genetic lives. So when we say 144,000, that's a symbolic number of 144,000 genetic experiences. Your experiences, your parents' experiences, your grandparents' experiences, your great-grandparents, all the way back to the Most High. There's a certain amount of experiences that you need to have in order for your Ak, your Ba, and your Ka to develop. Simply put, where there is minimal generational conscientious consciousness, there shall be minimal generational progression in and through life. So, stupid gives birth to stupid. Let me say it that way. And stupid is everywhere. Let me say it another way. Even people who are smart, if they were not privy to certain information and they don't teach their children, you can keep missing it. You can keep missing it in every generation. Right? Thus, the ark, as the portion sent forth from within Ane Re, is alive in the physical world and within the affairs of members of humanity in varying degrees of genetic potency. The ark is able to do such because it is directly linked to the universal consciousness. And this is where we're ending today. This ark is tied into a universal consciousness. Do you know what the universal consciousness is? It's the consciousness of every being that has ever existed in the universe. Do you understand how potent and powerful that library is? And you have a library card that gives you access to that consciousness if you know how to behave yourself. That's essentially what we're saying. So the ark is able to do such because it is directly linked into the universal consciousness, which is likened into a grand web of consciousness, which allows its presence to be both influential, perceivable, and accessible. And because the universal consciousness is like a web, any 2 points within the grand network can unite, commune, and communicate, whereby even in our lowest of moments, we are never left without the guidance from the Most High Heavenly One. You're never by yourself. So, no matter who we are, where we may be, or what we are experiencing, the true black light of An-Ray, the Most High Heavenly One, is always there and available, while there also exists those that are influenced by the adverse forces of Apep Zuen, who seek to block this true black light. So those who tampered with the scriptures, and who taught you fair, and who didn't define spirit and soul, their only purpose is to block you from access to a universal consciousness that is supposed to guide you while you walk through the physical earth. This is why in the book of Genesis, chapter 4, we'll end with this. Genesis chapter 4. And we're going to move to verse 25. Genesis 4 and 25 and 26. Because we must understand why we're doing what we're doing. We don't just go to church because there's some God standing over us, taking a register to see if you went to church this Sunday. No. That's Santa Claus. I ain't going. Right? Genesis 4:25, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For God said, she hath appointed me another seed, instead of Abel whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. The word Enos is the word Enoshite, which means mortal, which means those before Enos was being born were not mortal. The word mortal means to forget. You forgot this that we just taught you today. And because you forgot that, what did it say? Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. When you knew this, you didn't have to call on the name of the Lord in groveling prayer. You knew how to utilize that which was inside of you, that which gave you a direct connection to the universal consciousness, guided by the Most High Heavenly One. You can only access it if you're balanced. That's why Ma'at is so important. So don't think that we're a church that's standing around watching you to see if you do good things or if you do bad things. That's not what this is about. This is about, can you be balanced? Because that balancement is the access or the fuel, let me say it that way, that allows for you to access the Ak, which then ties into the universal consciousness. But in order for you to tie into this, you must have a balanced spirit. You must have a balanced body. This is why you have to watch what you eat. Because whatever you eat affects the Ka and the Ba, the spirit and the soul. And if they're unbalanced, then you don't access this. When these are balanced, then you have access to it. And then no longer are you under the spell. With that we say Amun and Namaste. You have been listening to the True Light Fellowship Hour, brought to you by the Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International, and our advertising partners, of whom we are very thankful. We are located at number 72 Meadow Street in historic Bain Town and led in the Bahamas by Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Ka-Hun, Anku. If this message has been a blessing to you today, and you feel it in your heart to assist us in bringing forth this weekly message by way of advertising or otherwise, or you wish a copy of this message, we ask that you please contact us at 242-426-1148 or email us at qubticrevealer@gmail.com. That's QUBTIC revealer@gmail.com, or on Facebook, the Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah Journey Home Group International, Bahamas branch. We bow to the divinity in each and every one of you by saying Namastu.
eluti mingi ngana kuku kateo. Oh.